Hi, it's Gemma here from Fundamental Sports and Fitness. I'm just going to go into a little bit about the biomechanics of running. Now, what this means is looking at your running technique and how you can make sure it's the best for you. Now, out of all of this, we've kind of got it on the slide here that no one has a set running style. Otherwise, all elite athletes would run the same. And again, you look at runners and everybody has a slightly different style and technique as they run, and all are very successful. Again, just some are going to be more efficient than others, and some are going to mean that you won't injure yourself as much as well. So the things to think about when you're looking at your running technique in particular is making sure that you're running tall. So you're standing upright and you're nice and relaxed as you're running. You want to make sure that you've got your chin up, your eyes are looking forwards, and you're focusing on a point that's 20 to 30 meters ahead of you. And this kind of gives you that guide that you're always going to be looking at. You want to make sure that your shoulders are square and level and not rounded, as it's going to sort of shorten your chest space. And again, make sure your posture wise, like we do when you're doing any type of training, you want to make sure your shoulders are back as well. When you're then running, you want to keep your elbows bent at 90 degrees and try and keep your forearms parallel to the ground as you're then running. This will help your arms to then swing freely and keep you then very relaxed. A nice tip to also think about is have your thumb resting on your forefinger, like you're just pinching a crisp or something like that. And again, it just helps to keep you nice and relaxed. Keep your torso nice and straight. So again, you're not rounding your chest over or your back towards the floor. Everything is staying nice and level and forwards as you're moving. As I say, it'll keep your chest open, which makes breathing much easier. And you'll be able to control everything then as you're doing it. Keep your hips forwards and level horizontally, so there's no sideways movement or tilt going on. Otherwise, you're wasting your energy, and you could find that you pick up some injuries and some niggles going on as you're doing it. Try and keep your legs relaxed as much as possible. I know that you're running, so that's going to be a bit tricky at some points. And keep your feet straight ahead of you. And then have your feet land under your hips. That's then going to give you the power to keep driving forwards as you're running, rather than feeling like your body's putting the brakes on every time that you're stepping forwards. So that'll help you run nice and freely. The thing to think about with your pelvis, as we've said, you want to keep them sort of forwards and nice and level, is that if there is then lots of movement, it becomes less efficient. And that's where if you've got that good strength and conditioning program, you've got a nice mix of cross training into your running training programs as well, you're building up the muscles in your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings that are going to help support you then as you're running. So yeah, it's always good to have a look at your running technique. So you can always get somebody to film you, and you can pinpoint some of these bits that we've just spoken about and see if you can then see things that you're doing really well at, or any things that you need to improve on as you're running. But any questions, put them in the comments box and let me know.